Hey everybody, it's Imperial Man 100 here with another book review. It's been a long time since I've done a book review. The last couple I did were the Old Republic tie-in novels, Annihilation by Drew Karpyshyn, and it was Deceived. I believe it was either Deceived. No, it was Revan by Drew Karpyshyn. Those two books I reviewed. But now, I'm very happy to finally be back, and I'm going to be reviewing something that is not Star Wars. What I will be reviewing today is a young adult novel that just recently came out. It's called The Impossible Knife of Memory by Laurie Halse Anderson, if I hope I said that correctly. This book came out in January 2014. Now, before I get started reviewing this book, I just want to let you guys know, when it comes to young adult novels, I normally have very mixed opinions on them. Sometimes I like them, and sometimes I absolutely detest them. It just depends on what kind of story it is. And it just kind of feels like young adult novels are taking the exact same concepts. There seems to be this trend going on now ever since the Hunger Games. People somehow have like this need to like write these a whole bunch of dystopian novels that basically screams the Hunger Games from the rooftops to me. I have read the Hunger Games trilogy, so I know what it's like. I know what the concept and the theme is and everything. And that's something that's repeated a lot in young adult novels these days. However, um, the Impossible Knife of Memory is something very different. It is something that is a lot more real, a lot more steeped in reality, and for me that was a very refreshing change after so much like post-apocalyptic or science fiction or dystopian young adult novels. It was great to finally read a book that was something a lot more refreshing, had something to do more with reality. And that's pretty much what this is. This is mainstream fiction. It is a character-driven novel about a girl named Haley who has a dad that's suffering from post-traumatic stress disorder named Andy. He actually took detours in Afghanistan, both Afghanistan and Iraq, and he came back with, psychologically unstable. So he can go through like he's an alcoholic too, so he's very unstable. And it's Haley's job. Haley believes it's her job to take care of him, and she believes that he needs her more than she needs him, and she feels like she takes care of him more than he takes care of her. And despite her father's, angry, violent, personality, there's also you also get to see in this book that in the end he still does love and care for Haley very much. And that's kind of one of the things that made me very emotionally invested in this book. Um, Obviously, this book has romance in it because come on, every young adult novel has to have romance, just almost every one of them. And that one was okay. That aspect of the book was okay. It definitely wasn't my favorite. So, for me, the big winner of the book was the relationship between Haley and her father. Those scenes in the book are just some of the most best written scenes in the book. Absolutely loved it. And this book, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm just going to admit now, it did make me shed some tears at the end. It is, it made me very emotionally invested, and it made me very, somewhat interested in the author's other work. So, hopefully I'll look that up eventually. I have so many books stacked up right now to read. It's pretty, it's quite a lot. So, with that being said, this is something very different. Um, I did really like, I did kind of get used to Haley's character at the beginning. She is a jerk. She doesn't exactly know how to function socially because she spent so much time on the road with her dad. And her dad is very, very isolated. He stays, uh, he stays at home, skips work, does all sorts of different, things that are not very wise, not very smart. And then things get really interesting once his ex-wife comes back into the picture. So it's kind of it's a family drama. The way I see it, it's a family drama, and it's again very very interesting. I don't want to spoil anything, but I will say that the end has quite a few twists and turns, and it ends on a pretty interesting note, and it is very thought provoking. And it was the first story I've experienced truly where it's like it is like post traumatic stress disorder, at some of its worst, and it was very, very interesting to read about. I would rather read something like this than, a lot of other young adult dystopian novels. I mean, I do plan on reading Divergent eventually because I've heard such great things about it. But, when it comes to young adult novels, I'll pick up a book and I'll read it, based on what people say, not because I'm exactly interested. I just want to see if it really is as good as people say it is. Um, but The Impossible Knife of Memory, I highly recommend to people who want an emotional, character-driven family drama. I think they will find it, very interesting. So that's about it. Everything I will say about this book. The writing, it was pretty well written. The story was pretty good. However, there isn't actually much story. Again, it's more character driven. But I think what happens in the book becomes, interesting. It's interesting enough to make you keep reading. So and the characters are pretty strong too. So, all that being said, hopefully you guys will go to the library or, download this book digitally. I highly recommend it. Out of 5 stars, I would probably give it 4. It's a solid recommend. So, thank you guys for listening to this book review. I hope it was helpful for you guys. And if you have read this book and would like to discuss it or share your own opinions of it, feel free to do that in the comments. I'll be happy to read the comments. I'm not, I won't argue with you guys. You're entitled to your own opinions. Um, hopefully there will be hopefully we can like discuss some of that. I'm always open for discussion on stuff like this. So have a good day, guys, and I'll see you next time on the next book review.